With the short-lived return to virtual classes at the start of the semester, both students and staff alike were reminded of COVID-19's bearing on the course of the school year, and the pandemic's long-term presence has already led to changes in some teachers' classrooms. Spacing and ventilation became critical to classes like gym and personal fitness, where physical exertion heightens the rates of transmission.
We try to go outside as much as possible, and we try to tell everybody to stay 6 feet apart, but that's kind of hard when you got 3, 4, or 5 classes in the gym at one time.
Within classrooms themselves, spacing still remains a choice for some, along with changing the actual type or the number of masks being worn.
And so I chose kind of to have my desk spread out as much as I possibly could over something I would prefer, something more functional. It's not how I would normally set a classroom, but that was my goal, is to spread people out as much as possible. Personally, I started wearing a better mask.
I haven't implemented any additional precautions. I've just tried to accommodate any individual needs as much as possible.
Others offered measures intended to ease the response to confirmed cases in the school.
We did seating charts for contact tracing. A lot more housekeeping things, cleaning supplies, wiping desks down more often, constantly making sure that the masks are up, stuff like that.
At the end of last semester, had the desks spread out a little bit further for final exams, and when I walked back in January, I thought, yeah, it should just stay this way. So the desks are about a foot further apart. I myself started double masking.
Unfortunately for such staff, there still remains the occasional rule breaker and the question of how to handle them. However, most agreed that a simple reminder was all it took.
It's a small percentage. We typically is only 1 or 2 kids that I have to say something to. And they don't really have it off, they'll just pull it down a little bit above their nose. We got good students, so when we ask them to put it on, they typically move it right back,
I would say the majority of students follow the rules 100% of the time. So I do have some students that, when they talk, it slips below their nose and they don't put it up, or, when they're opening their phone, they pull their mask down to do the face ID. I just ask them to remind them of their mask. I'll call their name, point at them, I'll give them a death stare, kind of joking around.
I would say very rarely do students fail to properly wear their mask. At most, I generally see students with their nose hanging out. The way I generally just address that is I just ask the student to pull their mask up, and they generally have no problem doing so.
And out of all of the classes I teach, I may only have 2 students that have to be reminded to just make sure it comes up above the nose. Just a simple redirect, and it's done. It's taken care of. I've never had any kind of conflict with that at all in all this time.
Infrequently, but it does happen. It's usually the same students who just often just pull it below their nose. I just end up reminding them periodically.
This has been Zachary Chan with the Midtown Southerner News.